Hi, everybody. Once upon a time, the Dave Matthews Band sang, "Celebrate We Will, 'cause life is short but sweet for certain," on a warm summer night in June of 2015 at the Alpine Valley Music Amphitheater in East Troy, Wisconsin, and I have been an avid fan since. The band weaves true poetry into their work, and it is really something incredible to witness. So, what do you believe that it takes for a band to be considered one of the greatest in existence? Well, I'm here to tell you why I believe the Dave Matthews Band is one of the greatest bands to exist. In 2018, according to Forbes, the band was tied for third most number one albums, and they were tied with groups such as Drake, Elton John, Janet Jackson, and Led Zeppelin. The artists that take the cake before this group of people are bands such as U2 and the Beatles. According to the concertarchives.org, out of the 9 studio albums that they have released, 7 of them have hit number 1 on the billboards. The AmericanSongwriter.com states that the number of CDs and DVDs sold by the band are about 38 million copies combined. On Spotify, they have about 2.5 million monthly listeners, and their number one song on the site is called Crash Into Me. It is from their 1996 album, Crush, and it has about 173 million listens. Another thing about their discography on Spotify, they have about 40 volumes of live shows, some of their best shows and performances, dating all the way back to 2004. One of my favorite albums by the band is called Big Whiskey and the Groogrox King. It was the last album they had recorded with Leroy Moore before he passed away suddenly in August of 2008. The cover art on the album is one of my favorite arts on any of their albums, but this picture up here on the right, I had a friend paint a replica of the album, and it hangs in my room now. And the guy in the center is a cartoon version of Leroy Moore. Anytime they play music off of this album, they always give Leroy a little shout out. And the crowd goes crazy, and it's really fun, and it's really cool to witness. Another thing or reason why I believe the Dave Matthews Band is one of the greatest to exist is their dedication to giving back to the community. The community that they grew up in and formed in, or even just our world. They started a foundation called Bama Works in 1999, and it was originally started as a foundation for children with disabilities, but has grown into so much more, according to the Bama Works website. A couple of those things that they are doing now, they have donated about $5 million to the public housing in Charlottesville. And another thing that they have done for the world is joining with the Nature Conservancy Plant a Billion Trees Foundation. Every tour now since 2020, well, they weren't able to tour in 2020, but they still dedicated to planting 1 million trees. But in 2021, any ticket that you bought to their show would go towards planting the 1 million trees. And they are also doing the same thing for the current tour in 2022. So overall, they planted about 3 million trees. The third and final reason why I believe the Dave Matthews Band is one of the greatest bands to exist is because of the consistent tours, entertainment, and music they have provided since 1991. According to allmusic.com, the band first started in 1991 with Dave Matthews, Carter Buford, and Leroy Moore. After that, they decided they wanted to add a couple members to the band, so they added Boyd Tinsley, who was a part of the band until about 2018, and Peter Greiser, who joined the band and then was with them for 2 years and left in 1993. When he decided to leave, they decided to add a very young but very talented Stephen Lessard, who was considered a bass prodigy at the time. So from 1993, it was Stephen Lessard, Carter Buford, Dave Matthews, Leroy Moore, and Boyd Tinsley. They would perform at places, according to the Dave Matthews History website, they would perform at the East Standard and Trax nightclub in downtown Charlottesville. In 1994, they finally got their big break with RCA Record Agency, and they signed with them and produced their first album, Under the Table and Dreaming, which features one of the probably most recognizable songs they have called Ants Marching. And from there, they have been providing and touring and giving all this entertainment to their very wide fan base. Now in 2022, the band is consistent of Tim Reynolds. He plays electric guitar and acoustic guitar. This is Stefan here. He still plays the bass. And Buddy Strong, he is their pianist. He is also a fantastic singer. Dave Matthews is the lead singer and plays acoustic guitar. We have Jeff Coffin here. He will play the flute and clarinet. Rashawn Ross, he plays the trumpets. And here is Carter Buford on the drums. The band, they all do a lot of different stuff, and it's really neat watching them perform because they will be switching out and doing like while the show is going on. And Rashawn here is actually one of like the more entertaining ones to watch. He will hold two trumpets in his hands and switch back and forth between the trumpets. And Jeff will go back and forth between playing the flute and the clarinet. And I'm pretty sure he also plays the piccolo, so that's pretty neat too. Let's see. Now we got their consistent touring. You can see here on this chart, it really peaked in about 1994. So in the beginning of their like 5-6 years, they would play about 100 shows a year plus. And now as they've gotten a little older and they've just been playing less, so we really try to go see them when we can. Their tickets, according to the concert archives, their tickets range from about $45 to $100. That really just depends on where you're going to see them. And sometimes the whole band doesn't tour, so if it's just Dave himself or Dave and Tim, like that's a classic combo. They will be a little more expensive because they are a much more exclusive event. This summer, though, they are playing at some of their favorite places like Saratoga Springs in New York. They're playing at West Palm Beach in Florida. They're coming back to Alpine Valley and Noblesville, Indiana. Here are a couple of my favorite pictures that I have taken over the years. These are some of my favorite memories I've created. I go see this band with my sisters and a good group of our friends that we've known forever. But this here, this was taken in Indiana. This is at Alpine Valley. This is at Summerfest in Milwaukee, and this one is in Des Moines, where I snuck into the pit with some of my friends, and it was absolutely a blast. I was like 200 feet from him, not even, and it was absolutely incredible. One of my favorite places to see the band, though, is at Alpine Valley in Wisconsin. Here's a couple of my sisters and our friend Quinn. All three of these pictures are at different venues. This was in Noblesville last summer. This one was at Alpine Valley, and this one was also at Noblesville from a couple years ago. And of course, this was the first time we saw them at Alpine Valley since COVID, so that was a very, very fun moment. It's such a good concert, and played some of their best songs that I've heard in a while. My mom always says, "Aren't you tired of seeing them?" My answer is just, when is the next concert? Every show is different. Their set lists are different. Their jam sessions are different. And the crowds are always a different vibe depending on where you see them. Overall, the Dave Matthews Band has created a beautiful legacy. They have created this community of fans that travel to go see them. And between the music that they have provided, the way that they have given back to the community, and the consistency over the past 30 plus years is one of the reasons why I believe the Dave Matthews Band is one of the greatest bands to exist. Now, as Mr. Dave Matthews has said himself, do what you will, always walk where you like your steps. In the song, I'll Back You Up. I hope you've all enjoyed. It has been a really fun time presenting to you guys this semester. Everybody, good luck in the future. Thank you for listening.